Good morning. 9:02 a.m. September 22nd. No, September 21st. The year is the 22nd year of 2000, millennium. Sort of. September 21st, 2022. I almost said 2021. Yeah, today is being a little bit rushed. Now I got confirmation of audio. And this is a Wednesday. The title today, Windows Daily 59, creating a new Microsoft account with or without stealth. Doug, what do you mean by stealth? Well, thanks for asking, Doug. What I mean by that is just if you want to reduce the amount of content that Microsoft knows about you, I'm just suggesting use a different email account. Don't use the primary email account that you use for your activities. And that's all I mean by stealth. I don't know if it's fair to call that stealth, but I did. So get over it. So I have a few mail accounts that I never use. So I figured that's what I would do for this. Most of you probably know that I do have a Microsoft account, and I actually have a few computers that I have that Microsoft account associated with so that I can conveniently transfer things between them. I can copy and paste. I can copy from one computer, go to the other computer, and paste because it's on the clipboard is shared. And OneDrive is shared, and my Microsoft Word and Excel is all shared between them. So I find it very, very convenient. But some people might not want to normally operate with a Microsoft account. And there's some people that resist it a lot, but occasionally might really have a need to. So I'm suggesting, well, why not just use some other throwaway email account? It's not associated with your main email account, and perhaps do it that way. The other reason for doing this video is just to show people how to create a Microsoft account. Some people think that you need to have a Microsoft email account in order to do that. No, you do not. You could use any email account and have a Microsoft account. Just like you could go to your bank's website and have an account with them using whatever your email address is. Well, Microsoft account can be treated the same way, where it's not a Microsoft email address, but it's your Yahoo address or your Gmail address or whatever address that you might have. You can create a Microsoft account using that email address. And even if you want to use the Microsoft 365 on the web, or I guess I should say Outlook on the web, to interact with your email account that's not hosted by Microsoft, you can do that. So I'm just going to go through the basic creating of a Microsoft account. Okay, so to do that, I'll come over to my browser. I've got a fresh page up here. Now, this is my Google Chrome browser. It's not signed into a Microsoft account. My Microsoft Edge account is my Microsoft Edge browser. So I could do this straight from my Google Chrome browser, or I could use an incognito window. I'm going to go ahead and do it straight in this browser. Does that have any side effect? See, this browser is signed in with my Google account because I have my tabs open here that are related to this stream. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it here. So what I'll do for that is just office.com, and here's a sign in. So I'll click on that. Now, by the way, I have not rehearsed this, so I might have to do some backpedaling on occasion here. So it's got the address that I use for my Microsoft account, and my password manager knows that account. You know what? Because of that, I'm thinking maybe I ought to do an incognito window. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what happens here. But I'm gonna switch camera views here, and then click. Well, I got to show you what I'm going to click on. I'm going to click on this sign in with a different Microsoft account. I'm just taking that off screen for a moment because I don't know if that's going to display something that I don't want to expose. And it did not. So here it's coming to a new sign-in. So I'm going to put in the other address. And I'm looking over to Baby Beast to remind me what that other address is, or which one do I want to use. Let's go to that one. That is that one. I think it's DougBetts Pilot at yahoo.com. And then it's giving me a sign in for that. That implies that that account already exists. So let's go a different way. This is the downside of not rehearsing or practicing or checking this out ahead of time. So let's try DougBetts Pilot at iCloud.com. There, that account does not exist. The other account that I just tried was asking me for a password. Now that's a good thing to point out is I have gone to set up a Microsoft account for clients in the past. I ask them, do you already have a Microsoft account? They say, what's that? Or no, or I don't think so. And then I go try to create an account for them and I find that it does already exist because it's telling me that it already exists. So if instead of going this way, instead of trying to sign in with that account and letting Microsoft tell me that that account doesn't exist, let's try a different way. I'm going to press the back arrow, get back to here. I'm going to go straight to create an account. So then I'll put in DougBetts Pilot. If I go back to the Yahoo account, we know that that already exists, right? But here I'm saying I'm trying to create an account. I click next, and it's going to tell me it already is a Microsoft account. Please choose a different address. Okay, so let's take another run at this. If I go to create an account and use the DougBetts Pilot at iCloud.com, Microsoft doesn't actually have any way of verifying that that is a valid email address anywhere. But here it says, does not exist, enter a different account or get a new one. So I'm going to click get a new one. This is going to be a new Microsoft account using that email address, which obviously is not a Microsoft account. Right now, there's a Microsoft server somewhere in the world that is sweating bullets because it's nervous about this interaction between an Apple product and a Microsoft product. Oh, Doug, just go on. Looks like you don't have an account. We'll create one for you using DougBetts Pilot at iCloud.com. Click next. And then enter the password that you would like to use with your account. So what password do I want to use with this? Well, what I like doing is about 3 words and then some anywhere from 1 to 4 numbers and some kind of a symbol. Or maybe the symbols between the words and the number. I don't like using in the past, we would say like, if a password has an O in it, use a 0 in that place. Or if the password has a letter A in it, use an @ symbol. I don't like doing that because that's difficult to remember short term and it's difficult to type like on a phone or something like that. So I like to use real words, at least 1 uppercase, at least 1 lowercase. Typically, I have 1 uppercase and the rest lowercase, or maybe each of the words will be capitalized at the beginning of the word because that's easy to remember in the short term. Also, another thing is that when I make a note, if I'm making a note of that password somewhere other than my password manager, then I could do something like saying an iCloud account, such and such name, and then on the next line, just type these words with spaces between them in such a way that they don't look like a password. I'm not going to say PW equals and then put that in. I'm not going to jam them all together to where it looks like a password. But if you take those like 3 words and put spaces between them, 3 words that might sensibly go together. And then maybe your symbol and numbers are consistent across all your passwords, so you don't even put it in there. Or maybe you put it in such a way that's not too obvious. So maybe an example. A bird created this. And let's say, I'll take the number 21 as today's date and then a dollar symbol. Now I'm going to display this for you so that you can see what I typed. Does it let me display it there? No, it doesn't. This doesn't, oh, there's the show password right here. Show password. So just an example. Now I'm not going to actually create the account with that. I'm not going to, the worst thing that somebody who's quick to do is to sign into that Microsoft account and maybe steal it from themselves by changing the password to something else before I were to get around to changing it to something else. Although I can put in a 2-factor authentication, and that way, even with revealing this password to you on YouTube here, I'd still be safe because you're not going to be able to do the 2-factor authentication that I'm about to create for this. But here's a sample of coming up with a password that's not hard to type, that you can write down in a note somewhere with spaces between, and it doesn't jump out as a password. So I'm going to undisplay that and then go put in something else. And this one I'm going to have to make a note of. So here I'm making this up on the fly right now. I did not preconceive this. This is not similar to any other password that I have. And I will have to remember to go make a note of that somewhere or let my password manager save it right now. Now, how do I know that I typed that the way that I think I typed it? Well, I bring you back to this camera. Then I click on the show password and make sure that I did type it the way that I think I typed it. And then take that off, come back here and click next. And I'm going to take that off camera too, because I'm just not certain what's coming up next. Okay, and this is fine. So now it's asking a first name and a last name. So I'll put in my first name and last name and click next. And here it's asking for what is your birth date. So they do this as this will be one of the security questions that might come up later. If you ever forget your password and you're trying to reset it, this is one of the things that they'll ask you about. Do I care about revealing my birth date? Yes, I do, because it's a security question. People who are regular with my channel can probably figure it out over time, but I'm not going to actually display it on the video. Okay, so I've typed that in and then I'm clicking the next button. And then I'll bring this back. So now it has entered a code. It wants to make sure that that is a valid working email address. You can't just put in a phony email address. So it's sending a code. You have to correctly enter that code. So I'm looking over to the other computer here where I am already logged in to that Yahoo. Oh, that was a Yahoo mail. I'm also logged into the iCloud account in a incognito. Did I do it there or did I do it here? Let's see. Which one is that? Oh, that's asking for a 2-factor there. All right. I thought I had prepared this part, but I guess I didn't. So what I'm doing here is signing on to that in an incognito window over here, but that picked up my other iCloud account. So I'm going to sign out of that and then re-sign in. This is a place where I'd really like to be able to pause the recording. This isn't a recording. So DougBetts pilot, at iCloud.com. And then it wants that password for my iCloud account. And I have that ready on another screen, I think. I hope. I certainly do hope so. Ah, yes. Well, I did already type that in today. I remember doing that. I'm doing that on Baby Beast. You're not seeing it. Oh. Okay, now my cell phone for two-factor authentication, because I'm signing into the computer, my cell phone is giving me a two-factor authentication code. I've been through a few of these codes this morning because I actually did a little bit of prep for this. And I think I already did this step. I don't know how I lost it. So now I'm going into the Mail app on that iCloud account over here on Baby Beast. So now I'm signed in to that DougBetts Pilot at iCloud.com account. Then I'll click on the Mail app within there. And I got a note, I got an email here. Let's see, those other emails there are okay to show. So here's an email here. You see the other emails are like 2019, 2018, 2017. You can tell I don't use this account much. So I'll click on that email. It's asking to verify the address. Okay, I'm going to show you what that says. It says to verify your email address, use this security code, 5362. So then I'll come back to my screen number 1 and enter that code, 5362. I would like information, tips, and offers about Microsoft products and services. No, I would not. Click Next. Create account. Solve a puzzle so we know you're not a robot. More of this. Okay, so I don't think this is the puzzle right here. I'm going to click Next to do the puzzle. What's this piece down here? Change to audio challenge. So I'm going to click Next. Create an account. Pick the image that is the correct way up. So which one of these is showing right side up? I'm gonna say that one right there. There was a refresh arrow down in the bottom right, and that would be if you don't like this question, if you want to go on to another question, because you can't figure this one out. So now, welcome to your new office. We're so glad you're here. And then this screen here has 3 dots. So there are 3 things that I can click to read this information about what I can do with this now that I have moved into the 21st century and have a Microsoft account. Create and safely store your files in the cloud, intuitively organize your content your way, easily share and collaborate on projects, yada, yada, yada. And then this screen tells me what I can get with the premium benefits. I get a 1 terabyte of OneDrive cloud storage. I think currently the free account is probably 100 gigabytes. It'd be 10 gigabytes, but I think it's 100. Let's get your office set up. Did it tell us on that first page? So now we're on the 3rd page. If I go back, left arrow, back to the first, it did not show. Yeah, create and store your files in the cloud, but it doesn't say how much space I get there. Okay, then when I clicked another right arrow, I get into here. Now, with this free Microsoft account, you get access to Microsoft Word on the web, Excel on the web, PowerPoint on the web, Outlook on the web, OneDrive, Teams, OneNote. All of this is free with a Microsoft account. Now, we got a button here for installing Office on the local computer, but you have to pay for that. If I click on that, it's going to give me an offer to go premium. If I come over here to Microsoft Word, for instance, I can actually use Microsoft Word. Start a brand new document here, but this is Microsoft Word on the web. It's operating inside of a web browser. Anything that you can do in Microsoft Word, you can pretty much do them in here. You got all of the menu options. I think there is some differences in functionality, but I can't tell you what they are right off the bat. And when you store files here, let's go to Save As. I don't need, oh, there's download a copy if you want to put it on your computer, but Save As, you're saving it online in your OneDrive folder. Now here it's trying to go back to my original account. I don't want that account. It's just confused because I have my other Microsoft account is connected at some level to my Chrome browser. So let's see, other ways to sign in. Email, yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to demonstrate that very well that way. So how about if I go to an incognito window and go to office.com and then sign in and put in that DougBetts pilot at iCloud.com. Those don't know, I was a private pilot for recreational purposes. Still am, but I'm not flying anymore, but I was pretty active in that hobby for about 20 years. And a member of an EAA chapter and several other flying clubs. That's not what this video is about, so let's move along. Stay signed in so you don't have to sign in again next time, but I will because this is an incognito window. So now, if I go to Microsoft Word and do a new blank document, and then type a very short sentence, and then go to Save As, it should be, yeah, so here's my OneDrive location. So I'll go into Documents and enter a name for this copy. Okay, so test document. Title of the document, the name of the file is longer than the content of the file. So, and you will find things run a little bit slower using the online versions of these programs. Now, I do have the automatic forwarding thing to go to Ken Stout's show after this. Not quite there yet. I want to go take a look at what's going on in chat. Be sure things are still working. I see some comments there. And I'm not going to read through them right now, but I do want to respond to a couple other things recently. BH Ringer has had some interactions with me, both through comments and through email regarding the recent videos about Windows Defender. And I just want to let you all know that I did find the logs for those scans that Windows Defender did, and also find the similar content in Event Viewer. And the question was the way that Windows Defender was offline scan was behaving, where it's counting up towards 100%, but before it reached 100%, the computer rebooted. I've found lots of content on the web describing that same symptom, but nobody really giving the answer that, yes, that is the way it always works for everybody. But what I found by going to look at the logs and the Event Viewer is confirmation about finding that infection file in that web, whatever file it was that was for the vertical market legal software. I found that, which indicated to me that it did not crash. The offline scan did complete and did its job. I did not find any evidence of any other infection being located and cleaned. Then the other thing I wanted to acknowledge is Jim KJ3N. In regards to the high speed indications or test results I was getting with Crystal Dismark on that spinning drive, is he said in comments from that recent video, and also did on Saturday's live stream, that he thought that those high numbers were because I was not exceeding the amount of cache that that drive was using within the computer's memory. There's an area of cache that might be memory on the drive. I don't think it's on the drive. I think it's in the computer, where the computer saves files to the cache before it's actually written to the drive. and that the speed of the computer saving it to that cache area was a significant part of what was reflecting those high speed numbers we were getting. So I just want to acknowledge those two comments. I'm not going back through all of the other comments on videos and chat, just because we're spending too much time on that. Okay, so I think, Ken, we're just about ready to wind down here. And the auto redirect, that's the word I was trying to think of. You guys must laugh at me about all the words, the basic words that I forget sometimes as I'm trying to talk. Have I gone as far as I want to go with that Microsoft account? So like if you're wanting to download something from the Microsoft Store, you can have, like I demonstrated today, you can have a Microsoft account that's not associated with your regular normal email account that you use for interaction. If you have some aversion to letting Microsoft have more of your data, whatever that might be. Now, if that email account is not hosted by Microsoft, the fact that you have a Microsoft account is not going to give them access to your email account. It would, however, let them see what you're doing, in Microsoft Word on the web, for instance, what's in your OneDrive folder. But I gotta see, I think a lot of people give themselves way too much credit, thinking that there are actual live human beings that work for Microsoft, that when they go to the water cooler, they say, hey, did you see what Jeff has in his OneDrive account? Or did you see what Ken was working on the other day? Oh, come on. No, they don't. No, there's nobody doing that. Now, what they do use it for is for sending advertisements your way. So if you, for instance, do a Bing search, could it possibly have something that is somehow influenced by what you've been working on? I'm not sure if they have quite that level of connection, but we do know that these internet services are wanting to be able to provide more targeted advertising towards us. Now, what that does is that lowers the cost of advertising to product suppliers and manufacturers, which translates into somewhat, perhaps, lower price tag for us on some things. I don't mind seeing advertisement that's more relevant to who I am, but I know that's not everybody. So this is just a technique to get around that, perhaps. Okay, Ken, it's 9:29. Here they come. I don't even know if Ken's been in the chat room today, but his video is scheduled. Yeah, there I see him. All right, so here we go. I hope that's been useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.